What's up, everybody?
Hello.
How's it going?
We're back.
I know, it's been a
We have
while.
a special guest with us
I don't know
today.
where we were, but we're back.
Yeah, we went away and then we came back again.
That's what happens when you travel along a parallel universe.
Okay. Just diving right in.
Just diving,
Right in.
right in the deep end.
Cool.
Oh, man.
Is that how you learn to
and-
swim? Just-
Yeah.
Just somebody shoved
Dad.
it in the deep end of the pool
Yeah.
and called it a day.
My dad was like, hey, he'll figure it out. Or he won't.
It's like,
It's like, I mean, if he starts drowning,
I'm
I'll
here,
go
aren't
get
I?
him.
we'll try.
If he starts drowning, I'll go get him. Like, yes.
I saw
But-
like this video. It was just like from a John Wayne Western. It was like some kid being like, I don't know how to swim. And he's just like, and just threw him into the deep end.
That's how you do it.
Seems like a really
Figure it
John
out.
Wayne thing to do.
It does.
So
He was the man.
There you go.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do. Anyways.
it's true. In case it's not clear,
We're here.
we're here and it's time to
Studio.
talk about Endgame. So let's get out right in front of this real quick and just say,
And for anybody that isn't already on the Daylan train.
yeah. Oh yeah, this guy. Daylan's here. So what you're witnessing
I've been
right
here
now on the internet
On the line.
is a murder in progress.
Ooh.
Is it too soon?
Is
Too
it?
soon to bring that
Do
one
you,
back?
you know, I really feel like that's something you just don't joke about, guys.
What you think this is a game?
Yeah.
We're not joking.
We're in the end game.
We're in the end game.
We are in the end game. Right.
So all of that to say, there might be some minor spoilers,
We're going to
But-
try and keep him.
but we're going to keep them to a minimum. We're not going to give away any of the big stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really impossible to talk about this movie without spoiling something. So if you want to go into this movie completely spoiler free,
Which
you
is-
should probably not be on the internet right now anyway.
Yeah.
which
Let
is
alone
what
watching
I would
our
be
show.
Doing right now, if I had not already seen the movie,
Yeah.
I would be shutting.
Right
us
now
off
is a
right
good
now.
time to come back and watch this video after you've
I'd
seen
be
the
like,
movie.
oh my gosh, Tucker and the Beard is my favorite show, but I can't watch it right now
Yeah.
until I see it.
Yeah.
So
It's my
Some-
favorite show.
some minor spoilers ahead, but we're gonna keep it pretty low key.
Well done.
Got it.
Just
I got it.
Marvel.
Okay, did you? He's on there somewhere.
He's in there somewhere.
It's got the- Horns.
Then he got,
He's a
adopted
trickster.
some of them.
He's a
He
trickster.
He is
is.
a trickster.
And his little scene in Endgame was
Pretty amazing.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it ties into a lot of different.
Yeah.
So
Without that,
I mean, we laughed, we cried, we traveled through time.
yeah, it's really hard. We sit here for quite some time to discuss how we were going to discuss this movie.
Yeah.
So I went and saw it on Friday evening
As did I.
at 7 o'clock.
I
So
beat
the
you by
movie,
an hour.
I saw
Yeah.
it last night.
we were at the theater at the same time
Two separate theaters.
in two separate theaters, watching the movie apart but together.
Yes,
And you were a
had
little
joked
ahead of
with
That's
my-
adorable.
I had joked with my family that I was going to text you the end.
Well,
before you- like,
so I did two
because we were,
things.
like almost there.
That would have been
And I was
best.
like- and I was like,
I did two
"Ah,
things before the movie began.
Shut your phone off.
I actually
You literally
turned my
did.
phone completely off.
You're like all the times that they put that on the screen. You're like, ah.
I mean, I always put my phone on silent
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
stick it in my pocket.
Of course.
Right.
And then I usually set my iWatch, which is annoying sometimes in
Your
a movie
what?
theater. iWatch? Apple Watch?
There you go.
When I go to the
Whatever.
movies, I will watch
Um,
the movie.
Yeah, and so I usually turn it to Do Not Disturb mode so
Right.
that, again, it's not annoying
They
other
actually
people
have
in
a
the theater.
theater mode now.
They do. They do.
I usually
So that
put
way
it in
it's
Hunt for Red October mode. It's silent running.
silent and running.
Silent running.
And then, but as soon as the movie was over, I knew that you would still be awake because it was after 10 p.m.
Listen,
when I got out of the movie. And
Yeah.
like, first thing I do, I turn my phone on, I go, hey, are you okay? Because I am not okay.
yeah, this movie is the only movie that I can think of that has done some emotional
Yeah.
Yeah.
damage to me.
My oldest daughter was full on ugly crying.
I mean, I felt kind of silly because I'm sitting there in a crowded theater a grown ass bearded man
with a little
with
moisture.
yeah.
My
I watered.
mascara had been
Yeah.
No.
You
Sorry.
sent
Yeah.
me a picture of you like crying in a corner
Yes.
in a bedroom in your house.
Yeah, because you're like, how are you doing? And that's the only response that I could think
Just-
of doing. I was like,
In the fetal position.
took a picture of me in the fetal position in the corner of my house.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I was not okay.
Yeah.
I got minimal sleep that night afterwards because your mind is just
Trying to.
piece together
Yeah.
my broken life.
It's kind of like when something actually bad happens to you.
Right.
That evening, like you replay those events in your head. Like I got in a car accident, and that no, I'm serious
Right.
because this is the closest thing that has come to this
Right.
since. For the whole like 2 or 3 days after the car accident, I would fall asleep barely, and then wake up because it would start like the accident would replay in my head. And the events of this movie did a very similar thing, but not for as long a period of time.
It was like I had a hard
There's-
time falling asleep, and then I woke up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, replaying the movie in my head
Mhm.
and trying to piece together how I was going to continue in life.
See,
Yeah.
only part of my family got to go see the movie with me. One of my kids was off at a sleepover, so I normally a movie of this magnitude, I'd be like itching to go see it again, and I'm actually like dreading going to see this a second time, in a way.
So we showed up to the movie theater later than anticipated. It was a Monday night, so we thought, it might not be packed. But they had it in they had it in the big theater and then another small theater, and we ended up in the small theater,
You went,
and we ended up at the front. So I'm like, I gotta see it again, just for that simple fact. But it was definitely like, it was an emotional roller coaster because,
Yeah.
and one of the things that was just a big thing for me is I left the theater like, all of these characters that we've watched for the last 11 years
Like
portray these actors that we watch portray and grow these characters that we grew up, looking through a comic book.
right.
These guys brought them to life for us. And I'm like, I don't know how to think of somebody else playing these characters because they're going to reboot.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to reboot.
If you would
And-
think it, yeah.
And so it's like, I'm like, I don't know how to think of somebody else being Captain America or Thor or any of those guys.
However they're going to
If they-
redo this down the road.
It's like, because those guys, those actors are those characters now.
Right. If you think
To-
of like 30 years from now, they're like, you know what? We're just going to revamp this whole. We're going to start at 0.
They're going to start now, I guarantee
They're
you.
Yeah.
Well, they have plans to continue on because it's like the next phase.
It makes way too much dough for them to not.
Yeah,
keep
they're
it
gonna
going.
continue, but
Agreed.
for part of it, because this is the end game. This finishes off a lot of storylines that they've started at. The whole thing with the stones and everything. They've started out this storyline that
Right,
kind
yeah.
of finishes that off, and you're like, all right, where do we go
What
from
happens
here?
now?
Um,
I sat there as the movie ended, and it said 14,605 possible ways this could have ended.
Right? This was the one.
yeah,
And
they
I
did.
don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how I feel about it.
Well,
I don't either.
I sat there kind of going, okay, like it started with Iron Man.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the first one, and I think to a certain extent they knew where the story was going to go. They had a
Mhm.
plan where these movies were going to go. But like I took my son to see Iron Man when he was
Yeah.
It was like 2 or 3. That was like one of his
Yeah.
first.
Iron Man.
Oh, wait.
He doesn't know a time
Yeah.
before
Right.
Yeah.
the Marvel movie. And so I go, okay, so it was hardest for me to kind of go, okay, where now? Like, for him, like, it's a big pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And whatever we're kind of talking about, like, the spoilers thing of it, kind of talking about my son, and I just mentioned it to you guys earlier, that at school yesterday, full-blown had a teacher revealing a big spoiler
Huge.
to the whole entire class.
Huge.
To kids.
Huge.
To
Huge.
kids that hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's not cool. And that's one of the, like we had a pretty lengthy. You and I had a pretty lengthy pre-production meeting on this topic.
How to
Of, like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
because
And it's really challenging because
One
we
of our
want to talk
executive-
about it.
one of our executive producers, being my wife, goes, I don't know how you guys are going to do it. Either you need to go full-blown spoiler or not at all. But I think that we're
I think there's
skilled
some
enough
things, that we can
to
talk about that were,
to be tiny dancers around.
yeah, well, they were funny, but still a big part of the story, but not enough that if you know about that thing, it's going to ruin the experience.
Right.
Because this is, and kind of the point I'm getting to, this is not just a movie. This is an event.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if you spoil it for yourself or someone spoils it for you,
it's
that's
really not cool.
horrible. They deserve to die an excruciating death.
This was like
Blood Eagle.
the only thing I
Blood
could.
Eagle.
Yeah.
that's intense, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's what you deserve.
This was the only thing I could equate this to personally is I left the theater and I told my family, I was like, if you guys, I'm assuming, played Halo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you get like all the way, I started off, got the first Xbox, got Halo first day, and so we played all of them. And then when we got to I was 23, 24, somewhere in there, when the last real Halo came out.
Yeah.
And I stayed home and played that game and beat that game. And when Master Chief died, it was devastating to me.
Yeah.
Because that was like a character.
The end of an era.
It was like an end of something very significant for me. It was like a childhood thing.
Yeah.
This was something similar to that. Like, I got to the end of it, and I'm like,
I had a similar feeling even when the show The Office had its final episode because it ran for
7.
it ran for most of my 20s.
Right.
It was like I remember tuning in the first episode and being immediately hooked. And the MCU has been that way as well.
yeah,
I'm not the type who goes and sees a movie more than once in the theater very often.
right.
Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire, I went and saw that
Yeah, I think I
2
saw
or
that
3
twice.
times.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like I went and saw
That
it
was
with my then fiance, trying to piece the timelines
Right.
together here. And then I went and saw it with some friends, and then her parents wanted to go see it and take us, so I was like, yeah, I'll go see that again. So I saw that one 3 times, and I think it might have been all the way, because that was, 2000?
Yeah, that was an epic movie for that.
Yeah.
2000.
Or 2001?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere in that ballpark. But it wasn't
2001
again.
because, stupid trivia, their first trailer, they had the Twin Towers.
That's right.
Oh
They
yeah.
had to
That's
go
right.
back
They had to go
before
back
the
and edit
release.
that out.
Sorry.
No,
Stupid
but
trivia.
it was all the way until Iron Man in 2008
Right.
that I repeat watched a film in the theater. Because, I'm kind of one of those, I don't have to go see most movies in a theater. But when the spectacle deserves it, that's when I like to go to the movies.
Sorry about that.
Silence and darken your electronic devices.
Sorry.
I think we have to have that tagline before this starts.
But and so Iron Man was like the next movie that I went and saw
No, and it was
more than once in the theater.
Right, it was huge. Just for us that had been comic books, and I was like, doing an Iron Man movie, and that was a good standalone movie. But
Yeah,
I went and watched that one again because I didn't stay for the after credits.
Oh.
Didn't know
and
that.
this
That
was kind of
before.
Yeah, that was like one
through
of the
YouTube
first.
where now it's like, oh, but did you see the second after credit?
Right.
And you're like, there was another one?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh
Did
well,
you
I
see-
can
did
just
you-
go hit that up on YouTube.
Right. Did you see that the before credits, mid credits, and after credits?
Yeah.
It just becomes more and more.
Mhm.
And now more movies are doing that, but that wasn't a thing. So I was like, that's a good excuse to go back and watch it again. So the second time I went with my brother, who hadn't seen it yet, we went and watched it. And I'm like, sit down and watch the after credits,
Yeah.
which is that was the mind blowing thing that
Well,
started it all off.
And this is one spoiler, I suppose, that I'm willing to give up. Mostly like, listen, if you want to sit in a dark theater for a few minutes after this movie's over because you need to compose yourself, go ahead. But you don't have to.
Yeah, there's no. But it is worth watching.
It's worth
through,
watching through the primary credits.
Yeah.
But you don't need to see all the grips and best boys
No.
and assistants to and all of that.
But there's a little cool homage at the end,
Yeah.
which is I think was really cool to see because it was like all those key characters
But if
again.
you're wanting an after thing of what now,
there's not one because
there's not that thing. You need
this
to
is
address
the
that
end game.
yourself. I know for me personally, my 11-year-old daughter, who she was at the end. And this isn't a completely devastatingly sad movie for 3 hours because it's a very funny movie.
Yeah.
But
in
my
typical MCU
But my
fashion,
11-year-old
great
daughter, afterwards,
humor.
she's like, "That was the first movie that I've ever cried in," and that's happy tears, that's sad
Yeah.
tears, that's a lot of things because there's some really really funny parts in it. And I want
Yeah.
But again, the tagline: this is 3 hours long.
It's an
And
emotional
8
roller
minutes.
coaster.
And
I
8
mean,
minutes.
3 hours and 8 minutes.
you go up and down. I mean, they take you from like gripping your seat to laughing. Like it was
Hysterical.
very
And then there's a lot of moments that are for the nerds that have been on from the beginning of this roller coaster. There's little things. There's ones that haven't been seen before. Like, oh, did you see that little Easter egg that was right there? They did that. And there's a lot of fanboy service.
Absolutely.
Fangirl.
Fan person.
Fan service.
I mean,
person?
are you assuming?
Persons.
Mm.
So,
Non-binary. Fan person.
but speaking of fan girls for a moment, because there is a moment without kind of spoiling that is very
Oh yeah, woman empowering.
There's a
kinda-
girl power moment.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's like both my daughters were like, "Yeah."
it was a hell yeah moment. Even
It really was. It
even
was
as
pretty dope.
A man, I was like,
All right.
I'm like, I can get down to that, and it just keeps going for a while, and you're like, it just keeps
Yeah.
Mhm.
getting better and better. Like, really cool scenes that you're just like, oh, they can't top. They just top.
No, look at him go.
Yeah, they just
Look at him
top.
do it.
Yeah.
Well, they can't.
And-
Certainly can't top. Okay, they just did that.
No, look
For
at
a 3-hour movie, it really did not. I mean, you get to the end of it, and you're like, I want more.
Yeah.
It did not feel like 3 hours. I'm ready to go some more. Like, please give me
Yeah.
something more because this was so fantastic.
I looked up beforehand because of it being a 3-hour long movie. For the kids and everything. Like,
This was a 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
I would take.
Hit the bathroom first, and then
I got you.
moderate your fluid intake during.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not that you don't want to pound that giant cup of soda before the movie's half over because you won't make it through the second and third act.
Right.
No.
Depending on how quick you are, because I had seen a thing. It was like an hour and 40 minutes. It was like the perfect time and it's whoever's going to go watch it. There's a thing that comes up and it says New Jersey, and it's a good lot of conversation time. But
I would not have wanted to miss that scene.
But my family didn't make it. They didn't make it back in time, so I had to answer some questions later on about how some things had happened.
Yeah.
And there was a cool cameo that they missed. But again,
Oh,
yeah,
that was a heart wrencher.
It was
not the best one. Not the best.
No,
one.
but it was
No.
heart wrenching.
It's the Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, because it's his last one.
It's his last one.
That's not a spoiler.
In my own personal opinion, I mean, it's not his best.
No.
No, I give that one right now to Venom, I think. The one in Venom was really great. And then the one in Captain Marvel was really good too. It's a pretty tight race between the cameo in Venom and the cameo in Captain Marvel, or a pretty tight race.
His favorite one was the one in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny because he's an announcer at a strip club. But there's Stan Lee for you.
in typical Deadpool fashion.
But it was a cool, they didn't make it back in time for it. And there was an extra little thing because it's bumper sticker.
Right.
It's one of his little taglines, and that was really cool. Which I didn't know or pay attention to until I had kind of seen some little Easter egg stuff after the fact, and I'm like, oh. So pay attention to the bumper sticker.
Yeah, it was tough for me, like my YouTube subscription feed, because I watch a lot of movie related, review other review stuff on YouTube, and my like a huge part of my subscription feed on YouTube, I was like,
Right.
well, I guess I'll watch that sometime on Saturday,
Right.
because I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole starting Thursday.
Yeah.
Starting Thursday,
I
it was
went
there's
for
two
Red
shows, two things I can watch on YouTube, and
I went
Right.
Hunt for Red October. I went Silent Running. That's my second Hunt for Red October.
yes,
Silent
it
Running
is.
joke. But I did, I was like, I can't, and it's a habit sometimes to kind of pick up your phone and, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was upset because I had read a spoiler, what I thought was a spoiler. It turned out to be someone doing
A ruse?
Oh, I had somebody that did that
It was a
too.
ruse.
And
so I was waiting for it. I thought that was going to be the after credit thing. Because it was like,
Because it didn't happen during the
and it
movie when
didn't
you were
happen.
watching?
So I was happy, but I was kind of sad because it was kind of set up for future. I was like, oh, that's what they're going to do. So I was mad though that I had read it because again, this is an event that as tempting as it was to kind of read a spoiler, because you want to know what happens to these characters that you're.
Oh, I
attached
did not. I had zero desire to.
yeah, I didn't want to.
It was like just as soon as it came up, I was like, nope, because I just didn't want.
I basically
any part of that.
stayed off of social media from like midday Thursday through Friday night.
And I feel
Because
so passionately about it that I want to go to my son's school and throat punch
this
said
teacher.
that did just the.
Yeah, that's
Not everybody can go over the weekend. The
What
movie
is
made $1.2 billion
in 3 days.
yeah.
3 days. It is going to hold the number one spot for opening weekend for a very, very long time.
The only thing I could possibly see coming close to that right now, I think Lion King is going to be pretty epic. I think people are going to flock to that.
I think
Again,
you're right.
Childhood,
Yeah. for the
nostalgia.
I don't think they're going to beat that, though.
I don't know if they're going to beat it. I think it could get close, only
Listen,
because...
Disney is a juggernaut
Yeah.
right now, especially. I mean,
I saw the top 5 grossing opening weekend one, and I think only 1 out of the 5 was not in Disney.
yeah.
Double check me.
I'm going to pull it up right now.
I knew you were going to do it, so I went ahead and segued into it, so you didn't look rude. You were second guessing me.
No. I was just, I want to
But
pull him up.
Chris Pratt alone as an actor is in 3 of the top 5.
He has really...
Second place is Infinity War.
He has really come into his own.
Which, by the way, for calling me out on a Dumb and Dumber quote earlier today, when I told you I think it was Thursday, I'm like, oh, I'm watching because I watched Infinity War Thursday night, and I talked to you on the phone. I was like, I'm watching Infinity War. I'm like, you're like, oh, you're going to the movie theater already to see it?
That was a simple mistake.
I think
No.
I caught myself within 2 seconds on the Dumb and Dumber quote.
$1.2 billion was in Endgame
Right.
for opening weekend.
Right.
We're not talking about
Right.
overall growth.
Right.
It's good.
Oh
number
my gosh.
2 is Infinity War, and it's
Half.
Right.
Half.
stone cold half.
Right.
And then we have a page out of your favorite film franchise, The Fate of the Furious.
How is that number
I don't
three?
even know.
Have $1 billion opening weekend, and then we have which by the way, it outperformed
I know.
The Force Awakens by a hair, and then we have Jurassic World rounding out the top 5.
Right, so Chris Pratt is in the
3 of
He's
the
in
top
3 of
five.
the top 5. Yeah.
with Jurassic World being the one in 5th place, which
Yeah.
I'm like.
Yeah,
I'm actually
no,
really,
Flyer.
I'm really surprised to see The Fate of the Furious, but in a way, after Paul Walker's death, I think that kind of
Boosted that a little
boosted
bit.
that up a little bit.
Right.
So
I mean,
That is very surprising, though.
although
I was
best
really
work was
surprised to see that.
Meet the Beatles. It's his own personal way. Sorry, probably second place would be like She's All That. Varsity Blues after that.
You're such a Fast and the Furious hater that
I'm really not.
it clouds your judgment. It clouds your judgment.
I'm really not. I really do enjoy the Fast and Furious movie, but it was, and and I'm gonna move right. I'm gonna
Especially
say it, and
the
I'm
one
gonna
that's
move
a-
it right past. I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna move it right past because I tend to linger on it. But when I watch the first Fast and Furious movie, I go, God, I like it. It's like watching Avatar. Like it's like okay, like good.
Yeah.
I feel like I've okay, maybe not Avatar, but
I was gonna say.
Avatar's hot garbage. But you get done, and you go, I feel like I've seen it before. Like you go, okay.
You do this with this guy every week?
Okay,
Wow.
That's about Avatar. We're about to go sideways.
In the interest of time, we're gonna have to.
Fast
I
and
know,
Furious,
we're really running out of it. We got.
Fast and Furious is a good movie. Avatar, not so much. But
Is it just because of the papyrus font? Is that what upsets
because
you so
Avatar
bad?
is
Or?
Fern Gully.
It's Ferngully with computers.
It is. I'm not going to deny that, but
No,
Ferngully
it's
was
full
good.
blown.
So
Yeah.
screw
It is
you.
full-blown James
I give
Cameron's like,
I give Avatar some credit for what it was,
Yeah.
for what it was meant to be,
it was cool.
and it was a huge step forward that has not yet been repeated in cinema.
Right.
You know, the first film to truly be filmed in and for a 3D audience.
Yeah, right.
I can respect it for what it is, but I go, why do I
still
feel like
So why do you hate Ferngully?
I don't hate Fern Gully? That's my point.
It's just that Avatar was essentially a reboot of Ferngully, but with
Full
computers.
blown.
It was Ferngully, but better.
Okay, then just say that.
So there you go.
Say that in the poster.
Say that in the
Ferngully, but better. No,
Okay.
What do you
I feel like we
feel
should
that
probably
the
get
Fast
to
and
some,
Furious
like,
is
But
a-
Fast and Furious
some key
is point
points
break.
or something
Moving
about
on.
this.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we're running short on time, but which is good because too much more conversation and we're going to have
Yeah.
to spoil some major things.
But it's so good. It's so good.
Really good.
Just go in, and this is the kind of point, my final point on it, of don't go in with any kind of preconceived notions from any other universes.
Because it ain't like that.
It's its
Mm.
own, like, go in with clear mind, clear bladder,
Yeah.
and just enjoy it.
Yep.
Like, it's good popcorn, fan service, but don't overthink stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's my kind of overall thing.
They had loose ends to tie up.
They tied it up.
They tied them up even though they had to stretch the rope a little bit.
And characters that are very near and dear, you know, that
Yeah.
become emotionally. I feel like they did.
Yeah.
You know, they did well by.
Yeah. It's going to take you up and down. Like you said, just if you go in there with an expectation, it's going to get ripped. The rug's going to get pulled out because I feel
Absolutely.
like there was a lot in that movie. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I did not anticipate that.
Mhm.
Like it was I had these, you know, this preconceived idea of how the movie was going to flow, and it really didn't go that way at all.
Right.
Like the first 10
Yeah.
minutes of the movie, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Things like were things that I wanted. I think I had talked to you about. Like, this is how I want
It
this,
to go.
this to end, and
Yeah.
it did. And I was right.
Some of it, yeah.
I was full blown right.
Yeah.
But it still didn't change the fact that I was
Hurting
emotionally
at the end of the movie.
compromised by
Yeah.
this movie. But
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, go see it twice.
Yeah.
You know, it's that good.
it's 3 hours of good time
Yeah.
spent.
So,
See
yeah.
it.
So we don't want to go too much further without spoiling it. Maybe we'll do a second episode where, like, we go hard in the yard and really dissect this.
I feel like
film.
this movie
Um,
warrants it.
Yeah, but
And it's just
that's not
weird
going to be
because
today.
It's an event, and we're trying to do everyone who hasn't seen it justice in the fact of not
Yeah.
ruining anything because if something's ruined, that's something.
Yeah, we don't want to be those guys.
Something like this, especially.
So
So
anyway,
go see that. Go see that thing.
yeah. Thanks for coming in, Daylan.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Always love having you.
I appreciate being here.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Until next time, peace, Tucker.
Beer.